how to test creative properly, really how to make ads that will work. What 90% of experts and agencies get dead wrong. For Facebook, we have to understand, let's start with one very simple business fact. Investing heavily in unproven, unstable assets is a very bad business model. So if you're testing ads for a week and then you put it into your scaling campaign, what that means is you're running your entire business on unproven, unstable assets. Now, when your business suffers, because it's going to suffer when you do this, it's not Facebook's fault. And to be fair, nobody's ever shown you maybe how to properly test ads properly. So with that being said, let's dive into how to actually test ads on Facebook in a way that creates high value, high confidence assets worth an investment from you for a long time. So let's start with the worst practice. What is the most commonly done thing that is absolutely dead wrong, but for whatever reason is super popular right now, and we absolutely need to debunk right away? Well, it's building dozens of ads and scaling what wins. Now, it makes sense, right? Let's think it through. I tested a bunch of ads. This one was the best. I'm going to spend all my money on it. But let's actually dissect what that means. I put a whole bunch of things out into the world. Some things got lucky really early on a very small amount of data. So I'm going to place the back of my business on that forever. Or let's take it a real world approach. I hired 20 salespeople. One person got more sales than everybody else in the first 3 days on the job. So I'm going to fire everybody and put the entire business's future on the back of that one good salesperson because they got lucky in the first few days. That is not a way of validating any of your ads, and it's going to truly cripple the future of your business. Step by step now. First, let's organize our ideas by concept. What is the business objective? What is the sales pitch angle? And how can we attempt to do this in a few different ways? Maybe 5 or 10 different versions of this idea. And also, when we look at different concepts, because these are what we're trying to solve, is business problems here. How do we overcome various objections? Because now we're running ads at broad, so they're going to be retargeting, they're going to be retention, they're going to be prospecting, and we're going to be able to scale our entire business on the back of a few really good sales pitches instead of micromanaging the entire funnel and basically setting up our Facebook ad account like it was Google Display, which is dumb and makes no sense. And it's probably the reason why a lot of people are suffering. And the honest truth is, since 2018, and especially since iOS 14, if you're still trying to funnel hack, you are going out of business. When instead, you can start solving your problems by concept. So let's focus on that to start with. The second step here is vital. Let's validate the elements of our ads. Primary text, headline, the creative, right? Our images, our videos. What versions of these get the best lift in our business? Which ones drive the most efficient actions? Which ones improve our estimated action rate? Because remember, what we're paying in the auction is our budget times our estimated action rate and our advertiser score. If we increase our budget by scaling the business, we are absolutely going to see worse efficiency. That's a given because it's simple math that Facebook's been extraordinarily transparent with for over a decade. So instead, we can say, how do we make our ads better? How do we do better work? How do we become better employees at the business so our factory can produce more things more efficiently? And then we're going to have a greater margin with which to increase our spend. And if we don't know how to do this, then ultimately we're testing off of pure dumb luck. And that's a terrible business model. So once we have these elements that we validated, and we can do that in a bunch of different ways, right? But once we have those elements, we can use dynamic ads, dynamic creatives. Again, it's broad in a CBO to understand which one of these things, which collection of various options produces the best business result. When I'm being the best partner to Facebook by producing content that improves the estimated action rate, of those choices, which ones give me the best business results? So I can index my relationship with Facebook against the actual performance for my business. I can let the machine learning make all of the choices and to be fair, it's really hard to lose when you give the machine better and better choices, and then you let it learn how to do its job better. That's so much easier. The fourth step here is we extract the post IDs from our dynamic creatives. The only breakdown that really matters in dynamic creative is spend. You're never going to see what best post did all this stuff. Like, that's not going to make sense. And they say, well, this one spent the most, and that one spent the most, and that one spent the most. Why isn't that a combination that I can see when I preview Facebook post by comments? Because that's not how it works. Sometimes the highest spending idea or the most efficient idea got that by weighting it very softly, a bunch of different iterations. But the iteration that was the best for Facebook might not be any one of those particular elements that spent the most money or was most efficient. But it's the thing that got the most spent, and it had the best estimated action rate. When you hit Facebook post with comments in your preview section, it's the thing that's showing up first. So you can extract that post ID by just hitting the preview, clicking on that little timestamp, and when the URL changes, copy the post ID right there, drop that into our winners, and move along. The fifth step here is we validate the post ID in isolation. We've taken it out of the DCT, and now we're going to see, is it truly good? So we collate all of our best post IDs of our DCTs into a single ad set within our campaign. We run that against broad in our testing campaign, because honestly, all you need is one campaign to spend millions a year. Anybody that disagrees with that, they're objectively wrong. That's just simple facts. We can argue about that in the comment section any other time if you want to. But when we reallocate our spend by giving the Facebook algorithm the best posts to choose from, we're letting the machine have the best choices to make on our behalf. We're ultimately scaling results by getting more and more efficient, by spending more and more of our resources where we are doing a better and better job. Ultimately, when that one ad set becomes so good you can't even test, we have to make a control campaign, and that's a great problem to have. And the honest truth is, you could be spending millions a year and never face that problem. The sixth step here, and probably the most important, is that when you get this right, you can abandon audiences entirely. And ABO. And honestly, also cost caps, bid caps, and all these other hacks. I mean, Facebook hacks are for Facebook hacks. You don't need to do the stuff that was necessary in 2017 or is still a good, decent idea maybe on display, because Facebook has changed. In 2018, it changed. You don't need to do funnel hacking and lookalike groups and audiences and all of this other stuff that objectively makes Facebook dumber and ruins your estimated action rate while reducing your advertiser score, because you're forcing ads on to people that don't necessarily want to see it, and you're preventing your ads from being shown to the people that should actually see it and would respond positively. If you consistently give the machine higher and higher quality choices to make on your behalf and get out of the way of the world's best machine at what it does, it's going to push down your CPA with every single test, which allows you to scale your budget to the moon. Now, there are tons of strategies on how to do this stuff, and almost all of them are really bad. Like, just be honestly, if it ignores simple business principles of making sure that the allocation of your resources most heavily goes to investing in proven assets with a known, stable, projectable outcome, then you're not running a good business. Ignore those strategies. Things that rely on short-term tests or running a testing campaign and then going to a scaling campaign, because your test doesn't even start until you go into the scaling campaign. If you're not prioritizing the development of high confidence, high value assets that you can scale your investment in, then really you're putting your ego over hard data, and it's going to be really hard for you. Facebook is a machine learning platform. What are you teaching it with the money that you're spending? How much effort are you putting into micromanaging the growth of the tool that is turning up the volume on your business? How much time and effort are you spending in making it harder for you to be successful? And ultimately, this is how you scale an account. This is how you stabilize your results. This is how you abandon ABO and audiences and bidding models. Anybody that says you need retargeting, you need ABO, you need to use interest groups, you need to use lookalikes, you need to use cost caps, what they're saying is they're not good enough at developing high value assets to use Facebook properly, so they're still stuck in a 5-year-old theory, and they're wrong. And the honest truth is, you can still be successful doing that. If you have an A+ business, you can absolutely still succeed by running your Facebook ad account like a B-. That's okay. But imagine what would happen if you actually did things correctly. If it actually saved you hours every week and your business grew algorithmically with the platform and you were able to scale with confidence. Either you get on board with this or you're going to lose more and more every single year. That's the choice you have to make. And Facebook is making that choice for you more and more every single day. You can fight the wind or you can embrace it. The choice is yours. Do you want to win or do you want to struggle but be right? Seems easy to me.